Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule of the Galaxy fans. It is Joe in the pilot seat, and it is chapter 319 of the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. I'm sitting here with my two good buddies, Alfie and Brent. We were supposed to have a special guest tonight, but last minute he had to cancel, and we're rescheduling. So Abdul will be on very soon, probably after the Andor series is over with, because I don't want to pigeonhole him into the Andor series because we're going to have plenty to talk about there. But again, it is chapter 319. You can follow us on all podcast platforms of choice, Rule of the Galaxy. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, thank you for doing that. We are trying to put more stuff on YouTube. And we can be emailed at ruleofthegalaxysw@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, everything you're supposed to do on all that, because we just like talking to you. And Michael Nipp's already joined in and said, "What's up, guys?" So it's always good to hear from Michael Nipp. But I'm going to go around the room as usual, talk to our good friends. Let's start with Brent, who seems to be very in depth into what he's doing there. How you doing, Brent?
Well, I just got to keep my hands occupied while I'm doing this. It also helps me pay attention to the conversation because I am ADHD a little bit. What's up? What's up? Do you think it'd be nice to have Abdul on because I think isn't he like a dinner party expert? So we can talk about Andor and all of the dinner parties that show up on Andor.
Mm.
No, I'm joking. He's also he talks political stuff too,
Oh
which
yeah, oh yeah.
again is like about a third of what Andor is all about is the
Yeah,
early politics of the Empire.
he's a big
And
Indianapolis politics guy.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
actually
Local
ran for
politics.
the mayor of Indianapolis. So he's been very involved with politics here for a while. We've heard him on WIBC. He is also on WVON in Chicago. So he's a man of many talents, and I can't wait to have him on. Sorry it didn't work out for tonight. I know we told everybody he was going to be here, but very soon we'll have Abdul on, and I believe next week we are supposed to have Dr. Squatch, who's going to be on with us to talk about the
Wow.
first few episodes of Andor. So,
Yeah,
Brent, I got to
yeah.
ask you if you will show us again before we get to Alfie.
Oh,
Come
fine.
on, show us Cara Dune,
So,
Mara Jade, Balin
so here's the
Skull.
first thing that I'm working on. So this is what I'm painting right now. This is for another game called Marvel Crisis Protocol, and I'm currently putting the gold on the bottom. This is from a terrain set. Um, Wakanda Forever, I believe. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the Black Panthers area. Um, the cool thing about this game is there's like a number 4 on the bottom. I don't know if you can see. There it
We
is.
can.
Yeah, so there's a 4 on the bottom, which means it's a size 4. So like Hulk could pick this up and throw this at another character and do damage equal to 4 because of the size. So there's other characters that can do that type of stuff, like Magneto could take it and throw it and stuff like that. So there's different Marvel characters that interact
Unless it
with
was
it.
made of wood.
Correct, but it's vibranium, sir. And then I recently got involved in the Etsy print game for Legion. So I have a couple friends that are big Mara Jade fans. Um, and so I got it. I got the hair okay, but I got to get some highlights on it. Skin is okay. I like the leathers on the belt. Those are goggles, like a steampunk goggles. And I got to do the knee pads and then zhuzh up some of the other stuff. But there's a Mara Jade character that I'm painting. Um, Here, oh, that's not the good one. Here is, well, no, because the other one, this is our good friend Cara Dune. And I basically just got, I kind of do batch painting, so I was doing the the skin on all of them. So I did the skin on Cara Dune. So I still have her to paint up. I have two different versions. I have a good version, which is standing on a shore trooper helmet, and then there's one that's really glued up pretty bad that's standing on a stormtrooper helmet.
And while you're talking about Cara Dune, happy birthday to Miss Gina Carano and
Oh,
happy
okay.
birthday to Nick Shesky.
All right. And
Yeah.
then I have a Balin skull um, that I'm going to be painting up. They put Jedi characters, like Jedi Guardians was what they called them. So Clone Wars era Jedis. So I can use him as a Jedi Guardian in the game. Let's see what else is what else. I've ordered a Jackson. So I can use a Jackson as a proxy for a bounty hunter, Cad Bane, or Bosk. I can just use that model. And then there's another game that I play called Blood Bowl. Essentially, it is it's a I equate it to the electric football that we used
Oh
to
yeah,
play. So
yeah.
you'd line the things up and turn it on, and it would shake and move. Except for instead of doing electric football, I get to make decisions on where they go, but then I have to roll the dice, and it may cause the ball to bounce three players away. Anyway, it's kind of got some zaniness to it, but there is you purchase your team and you purchase assistant coaches. So I currently have a Taylor Swift assistant coach coming, so I can paint up Taylor Swift to be my assistant coach.
You got it. Now,
And
do
it
you have
might
Travis Kelce on the team as well?
no, because my team they're Amazonians, so they're Amazon women.
Okay.
So I've named them. I have China. I have Scarlet. They're the names of my players. There's a blocker on there, and her name is RBG, so Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because she's a blocker. And then I also have Alana Marr, the one of the girls on my team is Alana Marr, the big rugby girl for the U.S. rugby team. And Arya Stark is a name of one of the other ones. They're my like blitzers and like attackers.
That's fantastic.
So
I did not.
I'm naming them.
You know what? I'm glad. Look, everybody needs to find a passion in their lives. Brent, you and I were talking about it. My passion is obviously my Italian
Italy.
stuff. Yeah, but your passion, seeing you take off with this since we started the podcast, has been phenomenal, and I've really enjoyed seeing you put the time and the effort into this and getting the enjoyment out of it. So it's very cool.
Since I'm taking up the early part for Alfie, but I also want to share, like, so you always ask what's going on in Legion. Well, there was just a ginormous, not ginormous, but there was an announcement, and they did some rules updates, and they removed a character, an iconic character from the game, and he will no longer be competitively playable, and they're not going to make resculpts of him, and they're basically like made him legends. Do you want to guess which character?
And what realm is it in? Is it Legion?
Star Wars Legion. It's Star Wars Legion, so it's Star Wars World. So it does contain, does have a lot of applications to what we talk about. But there is a character that they are currently saying, nope, we're not going to make any more of them for your game. And in fact, he's not really going to be playable in your game anymore.
Alfie, you want to take a guess of that?
Darth Vader?
It's not Darth Vader, so that's like that. I don't know how you could do that, but a lot of people feel the same way about this character.
I was going to say it was somebody off the Acolyte.
Nope, it wasn't an Acolyte because they're not in the game
Luke
yet.
Skywalker?
No, Emperor Palpatine.
Emperor Palpatine?
Yeah, so Emperor Palpatine was a playable character. And for whatever reason, there is debate on whether or not the developers had agency or whether LFL had an input, because they do control their IP pretty hard, like we've talked about several times here. So I don't know if it was LFL's decision or if it was a joint decision. But Palpatine, the IRG are also being removed. And Rebel Pathfinders, which they basically were like...
That didn't sound good.
No. Oh. Yeah, so that was Sam coming home and scaring Harper. And
okay.
Sam is laughing like Revenge of the Nerds laugh right now. Because she takes so much enjoyment out of scaring people.
Well, that's lovely. See, she has a passion too.
Yep.
Alfie,
sorry, go ahead.
Alfie, no, that's okay. You, let's talk about you. You brought a package with you to do a little show and tell for us there. First of all, how are you? How's everything going? And then what did you bring with you?
I'm doing great. To add to the conversation, I think one of my big passions is sculpting. I'm not very good at it, or no, do I do it? But I think I could be really good at it if I devoted myself to it.
So, a couple people that are in this hobby, they basically say, and I believe it now that I've done it, is that creativity is like a muscle, right? So everyone's got muscles, and you can develop your muscles. So like you can get stronger and you can develop your muscles as long as you work at it. So like you said, you like to sculpt. If you put in the effort to sculpt, I guarantee you would get better at sculpting.
Yeah, I just made that up, but I think so. I agree with you about the muscles though, because like in my line of work, I cannot read prints, even though I've been doing this for like 30 some years. But I can look at things and then kind of decipher them. Kind of like the Lego guy. Remember the Lego movie?
Yes.
How he would look at something and all the pieces just fit. That's so I could see how.
Do you sing that song?
I sing lots of
Everything
songs.
is awesome.
You know, that is one of the downsides to my job is that it is insanely loud, so you can't really hear other people talk very well, and you have to wear ear protection all the time, so you constantly have background noise going on in your head. It's really weird songs, just something that sticks in there, and you cannot get it out with.
Yeah, but Alfie, that doesn't seem like
power
that's a
tool.
downside for you.
It is when like it's the stuff that gets stuck in there, and you just can't get it out.
Gotcha.
That's what she said.
Exactly. I pitched that one right down the middle, and you swung at it.
Thank you. All right, show and tell, Alfie.
Okay.
Show and tell.
Yeah. So we went on a little road trip last weekend, and we visited Steel City Con?
Steel City Con. We still have the bed bug bites waiting for us.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see it too well. I have trouble holding things in the camera.
No, it's good. It's a bounty hunter looking down at you.
Yeah. All looking down on a bounty. I'm not quite sure who it was, and I'll match you, Brent, because we did hit an Ollie's, and somehow I found Balin Skull at Ollie's for $9.99. I've never seen it in the store, and they had a bunch of them.
Yeah, it was wild. That Ollie's, I will say that Ollie's was very surprising. D-Doc found the Mando in the Christmas and the holiday stuff.
The Christmas Mando.
Yep.
It was $9.99. Couldn't pass it up.
It was a fantastic haul right there.
Yeah,
it really
was.
Was. To finish off after going to Steel City Con and then go hit Ollie's in Pittsburgh and find these little jewels that we found was pretty cool. So, and for anybody who listened to the last week's episode, I apologize. You know, we were doing our bubblegum and shoestring kind of production. D-Doc set my phone on top of something in a hotel room with no lighting, no sound, and it was pretty bad sometimes, but hopefully you enjoyed it. The quality wasn't that great. So we're back to our normal
quality there. Quality of the room wasn't that great either, but we persevered.
Yes, that is true. And D-Doc is mentioning him. He is on his way to DC, I believe, and he and his son with the Boy Scouts are going to go visit the White House tomorrow. So if anybody sees any news of the White House tomorrow, watch for D-Doc, see if anything goes on, see if he tries to do any DIY stuff while he's there. It ought to be interesting.
Do you think he'll be able to hold this college football playoff trophy?
Yeah, that seemed to be a simple task. Yeah.
That's where you mess up every time.
You are correct. The simplest of tasks. So just as a recap again, Abdul Hakim Shabazz, who I was really looking forward to having on. We had to do a rescheduling. We'll get that set up really soon. Looks like right now Dr. Squatch will be with us next week for the first round of the Andor shows.
You mean Kevin Feige will be with us next week?
Oh,
you know
Dr.
what?
Squatch is Kevin Feige, huh?
Yeah.
It's going to be a final reveal.
Dude,
the trophy is the worst. Yeah, I agree. It is that trophy is bad, Adam Parker. Or
is it worse that he dropped it, Parker? I mean, let's be honest.
It's bad on
or that it fell apart.
Yeah. Come on, let's just have.
Would you like the crystal football? Like, do you like the crystal football better?
I don't know. No team I root for will probably ever have it anyway.
That is correct.
Yeah. And I'm not sure any team I root for will have a Lombardi again either, but that's another story for another time.
Well, I mean, if they get Aaron Rodgers.
Here we go. All right. So let's go. Brent, we had some topics that we brought up this week. Thanks a little bit from our own discussions, a little bit from
Yeah.
RFR, listening in on that. But they're saying the Sean Levy movie is it's piping hot. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling kind of stuff. There's some interest out there, and it shocked me because I usually pay attention to this stuff, but Killing Eve and Free Guy are two of my favorite shows / movies. Jodie Comer is great in both of those. I had no idea she even played Rey's mom in The Rise of Skywalker. Did you guys know that at all?
She was in like one scene for a few seconds, but
Right.
yes, I knew that because I saw the same article that you probably saw
Yeah,
that
but
day or
she's
the day before.
yeah. I guess they're talking to her about being in this alleged Sean Levy movie, which really goes back to say, okay, is there going to be flashbacks? Don't know. Is Rey's mom still alive? And but I thought she got killed. But that was weird. And then Jesse Plemons from what, Breaking Bad, right?
Mhm.
And Game
Black
Night.
Mirror. See, everyone forgets he was in Black Mirror.
Never saw it.
Oh, you not know Black Mirror?
I know of it, but I've never
Okay.
watched it.
So he was a character. It was a couple seasons ago. Essentially, what happened was he created a Star Trek-like world where he took the DNA of people and put them and recreated them in in this world where they were like subconscious. They weren't. They were almost like computerized, but they were born off of their DNA. Like, so he could jump into it into virtual reality, but they were conscious beings housed in the virtual world. So
Okay.
if that makes sense. So he took their DNA and then turned them into digital things. So he was kind of the evil culprit of it, but he played like the Captain Kirk of the Enterprise of that one. So that's how I know the cat. He also looked like Matt Damon. He looks like a poor man's Matt Damon.
He does have some similarities in there. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. Do we, again, just listening to what RFR said from their inside track, and then there's been articles. Do we feel like right after Mando and Grogu, this is the next thing on the table? Because really, besides that, there's nothing on the table.
I believe it's supposed to start shooting by the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's what I've read quite a few places. Does that mean anything?
Right.
No.
But it also, they were also saying in the article that like they had been working with him for a year before any of this leaked. So like they've had they've done a lot of legwork with it, and they've done a lot of the back work with it too.
Dr. Squatch, hello, friends. Well, the Masters just happened, so that's very timely, Dr. Squatch. We'll be talking to you live next week, brother. Go ahead, Alfie.
We've heard that about quite a few different projects. I mean, the Jabba the Hutt series had sets built, and before it got axed.
What was it, 1313, which they've been talking about quite a bit, got to the point where they were actually doing budgets for it, and actually like trying to the Underworld 1313.
Yeah, there's like a 15-minute clip that you can watch of, what do you call that? A previs scene. And the video game is out there somewhere. It's done. You can find clips of
of the 1313, whatever it is, the Underworlds that they were going to make.
But yeah, this movie seems to have a lot of push behind it, and that it's a lot further along than what you think.
It's got names, it's got stars, it's got people of notoriety involved.
And the casting thing is it's such a weird way to judge anyway, because there's casting still coming out about Andor season 2. I just saw another big block of people who are in this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
But is it any big names like Ryan Gosling? No.
Right.
We don't know much casting for Mando other than a few big names.
Yeah, we have not heard if Bo-Katan's coming back. We have not heard if any, Boba Fett, Ming-Na Wen, none of that stuff.
Yeah, they all say no, but...
And so did Qui-Gon, but he showed up at the end of... Liam Neeson, but he showed up at the end of Obi-Wan.
Toby Maguire and the other Spider-Man both said no, and they showed up in it. In this day and age, you can still keep a little bit of a secret.
Well, I will say this. Sean Levy, if he's the guy who was involved with Deadpool movies, and Ryan Gosling, Jodie Comer, and Jesse Plemons, I'll take anything with all that put together. Sounds fine to me. Let's run with it.
Hey, Joe, I think the three of us would take anything. It doesn't matter who's attached to it.
Not true.
I disagree with that. You'd watch it, whether or not you liked it or not. It's a different story.
Okay.
Now, that's a fair assessment. I will give you that. I will watch it.
We will watch it. We will give everything a chance. Now,
Correct.
Would we be excited about certain things? Maybe not. But yes, we would watch it.
That's all I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you put a trailer out.
I'm a sucker for a trailer.
I'm going to get it. Exactly. We went and saw the Minecraft movie, and I wanted to see like every movie that they showed a trailer for, because there's just something, like I say, the theater bumps everything up at least 2 grades. It makes a 6 and 8.
I agree. I usually do letter grades, but yeah, like it takes a C movie and makes it like a B+.
Yeah. And it's almost like that magic ends as many steps as you get out the door. I always say, bring up like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I thought that movie was great. But by the time I got to my car, I was like, you suckers, you got me again. That movie sucked. But on the big screen for a short while, it was good.
Yeah. I was looking at the list. There's a lot of things this year that I think I want to see.
Like what?
Well, the one that's out now, The Amateur, that looks good. Have you guys seen the previews for that?
Yeah, I'm a big Rami Malek fan. I really enjoyed like a lot of his when he was doing the presser for
the robot.
When he played
Queen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever that was, whatever the name of it was, when he was playing Freddie Mercury, and all of the press that I saw after that, like I really kind of bought into like a lot of what Rami was selling. So I do kind of want to see that one.
Yeah, I can. The Accountant 2, Revenge of the Sith, Thunderbolts. Let's see here. The Ballerina.
Talking about trailers, the trailer that I saw most recently for Thunderbolts 2. I don't know, man. Like that one was because there was one at Warfare when I went and watched Warfare. There was a Thunderbolts preview, and that was a little rough for me. Like, I don't know. It didn't get me hyped to go watch it.
I'm having a tough one with that one too, Brent, because I'm with you on the trailers. Okay, I'm with you. I'm not really overly impressed by the trailer. However, this is like the first Marvel movie in our lifetime. Everything moves so fast, so It seems so far away. It seems like the first Marvel movie in ages where I'm reading people who have seen press screenings, advanced screenings, saying this movie is really, really good. I have not heard that about a Marvel movie in forever.
Okay. But I will also say that a lot of people who watched advanced screenings told Lucasfilm that The Last Jedi was a really good movie.
I understand that, but I'm
like I'm just
I'm getting this from a different source of people, and generally every movie in the past few years that they've seen, they come out and say this is awful. It's just awful. And to be fair, mostly I agree with their assessments of those.
Yeah.
Michael Nip chiming in. They're definitely confident about Thunderbolts. Fan screenings happening 4/22.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. Hey, I'm in on that one. The other ones that I'm looking at, again, Ballerina, part of the John Wick series, I believe. Superman, Fantastic Four, and you know what I'm really excited about? Silly, but I liked it. Zootopia 2.
Zootopia the first one was fun. Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
I like the concept of the movie, and I mean, who doesn't like a sloth that works for the BMV? Like, just the adult humor that put that there was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Alfie, I'm going to go ahead.
I'm not sold on Superman. It's
okay.
I've watched the trailer enough times, and I saw it again before I actually saw the scene that they put before the Minecraft movie. why does this suit look so bad? Why does it
Okay.
look padded? I take
I
that
mean,
with a grain of salt because I did not care for the Man of Steel the first time I saw it, but the
well,
second time I really liked it.
wasn't
So
Val Kilmer padded?
in Batman,
Yeah.
Batman. Yeah.
Wasn't his a padded costume? God rest his
it's not
soul.
it doesn't seem so obvious as this one. This one
Okay.
it looks like shoulder and elbow pads sewn into it. It's the look of the costume. And I
Gotcha.
know that's silly. Oh, you're gonna, hate a movie because of the way the costume looks. Well, yeah, it just doesn't look very Superman-y.
I feel like that one's iconic though.
Super Manny. I like
Yeah,
it.
Is
and
that kind of
it's
like
just
Handy Manny?
I want to see it, and I want it to be good. And there's scenes in the trailer that really get me going because Superman is by far my favorite comic book hero. But it's gonna be hard to beat Henry Cavill as Superman.
I agree. That's what I have the hard part with. I haven't seen a lot of the previews. I haven't seen all that, but to me, it's
You,
going to be hard to look at
yeah,
somebody else right now.
you go back and just watch Man of Steel, and it's one of those things you look at and you think, how did you screw this up? Like, how did you not make this into just
A franchise.
an yes,
Mhm.
an enormous franchise? How did you waste such? You're only going to come across actors who are made for a role, in
I agree.
once in a generation, and you just, you know,
Right. They could
what
have
could
done
have
a
been?
20-year run of
Yeah,
him.
the
Yeah.
things you could have done with that.
Okay.
We were this close to greatness, right? Isn't that
This
the
close.
Exactly.
Staring at the sun. Michael Nip had a question we're going to get to later about animation. But first, I was looking, and Alfie, you brought up Andor and
Hmm.
casting and things like that. And then we bounced around. Or actually, you sent it to us in the text chain where, let's see, a legacy character is recast in season 2. Yeah. Do you have any insight on that at all? I mean,
No, I that was from an interview with Gilroy, and he
hmm
says that due to restrictions and timing and stuff, that they had to recast a character. I can't really think of an important legacy character that would appear. Maybe Bail Organa.
I yeah.
You've already recast General Dodonna, so
Mm-hmm.
that to me doesn't seem that big of a deal. And the guy has a few lines in A New Hope, and he had a few lines in Rogue One. Doesn't seem that significant if you were to recast him. Uh, I, I, are characters from Rogue One considered legacy characters now?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I think so. According to what, Lucasfilm, I'm sure Lucasfilm would look
Mm.
at him that way.
Well,
Nip
yeah.
Nip brought up a big one right here. Maydeen, General Maydeen.
Okay, so tell me why he's important. I've heard the name, but I don't know, like, why is he important?
He's in the Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi with the terrible haircut.
The
Oh,
fake
he's the one that
beard,
gives
fake
he's the one that gives the presser
Yeah,
Mon Mothma.
before
yeah,
Mon says many Bothans died to bring us this information.
There we go.
yeah. His battle scenes at the end of Jedi were cut, but they were filmed. You can go back and watch them. They're a hoot. That haircut is something else.
Michael, I like you pulling that one. I think that's a good valid possibility right there because I can't think of other people that they would be putting into this.
Yeah, but
That would
again,
make
is
sense.
Nadine considered a legacy character?
Yeah,
Like,
because
from the
I was
original
thinking
trilogy.
maybe the spy officer from Rogue One that it seems to be Cassian Superior, who tells him to kill Galen
Yeah.
Erso.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a pretty healthy part in that movie.
I
Is it
I know
possible that
where
it's Galen Erso?
I don't
Again,
think so.
is Rogue One. It's just the wording of a legacy character. When you think legacy, you would think that this would tie into A New Hope,
Do
in
you
my
think
mind.
do you think it would have to or we mentioned Bail Organa, we mentioned Maydeen. Do we think it's a teenage Princess Leia? Just in the background,
Uh,
maybe off to the side.
I don't see a reason for her to be in this. And to me, that's a character. we had this discussion before. Thrawn fits into the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Princess Leia does, and that would really, I think, what's the word? I'm kind of
Fan
sour
service?
his
Okay.
style of what he was trying to do with Andor.
Yeah.
Gilroy,
Yes,
by throwing out that the cameo of that character.
right.
Because he
like
said he said like that in this first series that there's not going to be any like cameo for cameo's sake.
But Alpha, you
Right.
said there's going to be a blast of cameos in this one, didn't you? Didn't you
Well,
say
that was just me being facetious to get a rise out of Brent. Yes, this is going to be like the Book of Boba Fett, Episode 5. Everyone's in it.
Everyone's
Hey,
in
remember
it.
that bounty hunter from that cartoon that some people liked? He's in this episode.
Dude, what if
Okay.
Jackson shows up?
Jackson fits time-wise.
Does he? Jackson was in this timeline?
Well, he was a bounty hunter when the original trilogy was going on. So by the time we get to the end of this, we're almost to the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that'd be hilarious
if
to
you-
see the big green rabbit in the background.
Or I would find a way to put Kyle Katarn in this as a nod to the original guy who found the Death Star plans. He doesn't have to be any significant role. Maybe he goes on another mission and you never hear from him again.
I'm okay with any of it, but I'm just interested to see who that might be.
I think it would be Bail Organa, because I could see him having some scenes with Mon Mothma in the Senate.
Yeah.
Because at this time he's already a part of the rebellion.
Yeah.
But the way it's worded in A New Hope, it seems like he's still part of the Imperial Senate.
Yes, because she's the junior senator, right?
Right.
He's the senior senator from Alderaan.
So it would make sense for him to be there, and him being the one warning her to get, they're after her, you got to get out.
Well, and if the book that I just read has anything to do with it, I can see that being the case because they're both heavily entrenched in that book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he's also a character that has appeared in the prequels, Kenobi.
Yes.
Rogue One.
There were little bits of him in A New Hope.
Yes. Little bits.
Little tiny bits of him.
Oh my god.
Atomic size bits.
You can't say he wasn't in the movie. He was somewhere in that scene. Anyway. That's a scene that they could have had in A New Hope. All the people looking up and seeing that coming at them, kind of like in The Force Awakens.
With the Hassian Prime.
Yeah.
If you go back, and again, this is all with a grain of salt, was it true or not? I read quite a bit that was considered for the special edition.
Really?
They go on to...
Yeah, a point of view from Alderaan. Like I said, whether that's true or not, I have nothing to back that up with other than reading, in the 90s on dial-up. You guys remember dial-up? That's how hardcore of a scoop I was.
Scoop Alfie, yeah, see? I'm gonna get you the scoop. Yeah.
Gotta get the Star Wars scoop here. Yeah, see? Yeah.
Give me a bologna sandwich over there and a hot coffee and give me the scoop. Let's go.
I need something by 5:00.
Damn it, if you don't give me the story, you're fired, see? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh gosh.
You really ran with that one.
Okay.
Shane Gillis does he's like, we've lost something in society because the peak of society was the 50s. He's like, and then I think he used it with Jackie Robinson. He's like, as soon as Jackie Robinson came into the game, they lost it. They're like, oh yeah, see, he's gonna reach first base. See, oh man, look at that guy. It's a pretty good bit. I didn't do it justice, but
no, that's good stuff. So Michael Nipp brings up, do you guys think that the next animated series will get announced at Celebration? And I think we talked about it a little bit on our text chain, but we already know, obviously, that the Tales of the Underworld is coming out on May 4th with Asajj Ventress, with Cad Bane, and on one of our recent shows, I believe Aaron from Hyperspace Heroes had said he wanted to see the next animated series be Quinlan Voss and Asajj Ventress. And then, of course, to follow that up, our good friends Rebel Force Radio also were saying that what they had been hearing was Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Voss next animated series with Darth Maul, the Crimson Dawn, and Maul's nephew all being a part of this. So if that is the case, would you be happy? And I guess first, do you think that will be anything as far as animation will be announced at this celebration, which starts tomorrow, right?
I believe so.
And would that be the one you guys would see, or do you think something else?
I don't make conjectures on all of that stuff because things come and go. Things come and go. Sometimes they fall, sometimes they come through. So I'll be waiting for when it actually is released. I'll be waiting for release day because all of this stuff is just presser for hype. But I'm interested to see what does come out of this this 4 days of Star Wars love in Japan.
Okay, Alfie, how about you?
Yeah.
I think if you were hoping for some new project to be announced, maybe with a sizzle reel or a teaser trailer, animated would be the way to go. I think that's the safest bet. I think we'll probably see a Mando trailer, whether it gets leaked online or actually gets released online. I don't know about that, but I bet there'll be a Mando trailer tomorrow during the panel. I would, if there was going to be a one more thing, I would think it would be an animated series. That seems to be the easiest thing to keep under wraps and to do quickly.
Okay. And do you think do you think that's the way it would lean? Is that era? Or do you think there's other things that might jump in front of it?
I don't know. I think that's a good one because it's there. Kenobi's already kind of introduced the story. The Bad Batch kind of gave it a little more of a nudge. I think you have an end point in the Jedi Survivor games to where that road leads. So it kind of seems like the story's almost kind of written. So why wouldn't you just go ahead and take an easy win?
You also got Solo movie, right? Did you say that? I'm sorry if I missed it.
Crimson Dawn and Maul.
Movie with Crimson Dawn and Maul.
Right. Sometimes you just need to take the layup.
Yeah. And I've said it before. I don't understand the abrupt end to the Bad Batch. That it just seemed like even in that episode, they went out of the way to tell you, hey, there's other ways this could have gone, but we either didn't have the time or the money, or somebody said, no, we're saving that for something else. So this is kind of the end. Everybody dies except the good guys. And that's it. And everybody forgets about everything that has happened in 3 seasons. That's all Tarkin said. Hey, we'll never talk about this again. Even though the Emperor went there and said, this is the most important thing the Empire is doing for its survival. Tarkin shows up and says, hey, I've got the ultimate rule. We'll never speak of this again. Just close the door, never speak of it. Omega and the Bad Batch can live out on their island planet that we already went to and know where they're hiding, but it's just all over.
I would agree.
I'm a firm believer in that was a different episode, and I've read the voice actors and actresses saying that they re-recorded the last episode.
Wow. Okay. Well, I will say this. If that is not the one it goes with, if we don't go with Asajj and Quinlan, my second choice would be a Rex, Cody, Wolf, Gregor, weird story.
Bring on the clones!
More clones.
Send in the clones!
Or yes, send in the clones. We should have Sinatra do that. Where are the clones?
Send in the clones.
Send in the clones. And then the other one would be, come on, give me something like Clone Wars to tie in something to the sequel trilogy so I can feel better about it. So Those are my choices. I hope one of those three comes up.
Yeah.
Hyperspace Hero says hello. Hello, Hyperspace
Hey guys.
Heroes.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing, and I've said this since we started this podcast. I am dying for something new. But Alfie also says, well, every time I bring that up, because we have this banter going back and forth, that new is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And new takes time to establish. But I want new. So going back to the Well of the Clones, I know I'm not the normal fan. That Clone Wars era did not resonate with me whatsoever, and still hasn't resonated with me. So I am not as excited for a Clone Wars era reboot of anything. Like I don't understand the Rex. I don't understand the Cody love. I don't understand all of it. So
You just don't get it, man. You don't get it.
right. If is a word in the little Earth is a word in the middle of life, man. He knows things, man. He's a man's man.
Let's just take a moment and
That hurt.
take this in because this doesn't happen very often. Okay, this is a special moment right now.
Alfie's going to admit he was wrong.
He agrees with me.
I love the Clone Wars era. I love Revenge of the Sith. That's my favorite Star Wars movie. I love the Clone Wars series. I love those characters, but I'm in total agreement with Brent. I want that to die. Quit making stories about that.
But the
Make
characters
something else.
sell, man.
And I understand that, and that I know they're
That's
never going to
why
stop
they keep going back to the well, man.
Yeah, that's why they're never going to stop going back to that era. But it's time to that story's played out. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
fine with that.
There's
I'm
still
just
a
giving
part of me
options.
that wants to see Rex get to Endor. There's still a part of me that wants to know what happened to Cody, and that's what angered me so much about the Bad Batch, is that they just didn't let that era die. It should have been a definitive end. Here's the characters. Here's what happens. Let's go somewhere new.
I'm good with that. All right. So we do think maybe something animation will be announced. Do we think anything else? A new live action series? Any movies that they're hiding away and not telling us? Anything like that at all that we're going to get in this?
There's definitely going to be a video game announced.
Well, yes, we can talk about that video game. We have that on the agenda here to talk about the video game that's coming out.
So they've talked about it, like they showed a picture of it, and in my Star Wars game, because obviously it's gamers, they started going crazy because it's connected to the developers that made another game that they really enjoyed, XCOM or something like that. So it's the same kind of, it's a first-person turn-based RPG type game that everybody really liked, and so the fact that they're going to try to take it and set it in the Star Wars world made a lot of the gamers and the video gamers that play my Legion kind of giddy. But in that article, it was like more will be announced at Celebration. So, Alfie, do you got anything else?
That's about all I've read about it.
Set during the Clone Wars era, is that right?
Yeah. Again, it's got like a Clone Wars, like I don't know, like a kind of a ruffian. Not necessarily part of the Galactic Civil War, but like an offshoot brand, like group.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a combination of this XCOM game and Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
Here's a generic character of every class you could think of, and they all kind of have a story, like Karth and Canderous, Darth Revan, all that stuff. I think it could be good. Star Wars games are hit and miss right now. The Jedi Fallen Order were great games. Squadrons died quick.
Yeah, it did.
How about that most recent one, the Bounty Hunter one?
That one was.
That was like, but that was like a. I think the reason what that was hoping to do was capitalize on microtransactions, and they were hoping people would buy into it because it took a while to level up. Hyperspace Heroes, he played it all the time, and actually, like one of their most recent episodes, he was lamenting its demise. But he can. He just said something that made me laugh, and I got lost in what I was trying to say.
That's okay.
No, the bounty hunters, right? So the bounty hunters, it was really cool. They were like, there was no named character. They were just like kind of like characters from the world. A Jedi, the Wookiee, an Ewok. You could play as like a droideka. So they had different like types and different classes. And to
You mean
level up
hunters?
the in Hunter.
Hunters.
Yeah.
I think there was a droideka. If there wasn't, I know that there was definitely a
There was
battlefield
a
on like a heavy gun.
Ugnaught in a droideka.
Okay.
That
Weird.
game, just like Outlaws, was like 5 years too late.
Yeah, because it was based on what, Overwatch or something like that. I mean, is the closest competitor, but I feel like it was modeled off of microtransactions and trying to get you to buy certain things to make it cool. And I just don't think it caught on with the age group that it was tagged to.
That style of game has moved.
Right.
That generation has moved away from that.
Which is funny
Outlaws
because
was kind of like a Star Wars Red Dead Redemption, but
right.
That's 5 years ago that would have been a mega hit, but today there's already been 100 games skinned after that.
See, I'd be happy if there's a new Star Wars game every year and they release it. 2, I will never play them. 3, when we talk about Star Wars games, I'm like Brent when we talk about Toy Time. So
I feel you.
No, we're good. Real quick, just a fun thing that you laughed at, Brent. Hyperspace Heroes, Blood Bowl. I had a team of all dwarves back in the day. Okay. I thought you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, that's what I laughed at when I was trying to talk about him and like him lamenting the fact that bounty hunters went away,
right?
Or whatever, hunters went away. I read that quote, and that's what like took my attention away from trying to talk about it.
No, you're good. And then Michael Nip with the great comments tonight. I hope the Sean Levy movie is the continuing adventures of Cammy and Fixer. And Brent, do you know who that is?
Isn't that the two that were supposed to be in the Wormy, and they called him Wormy and the Toffee Station that they eliminated?
Yes.
Come on, man.
Well,
trying to gatekeep me and jam me up on Star Wars trivia.
Dude, I'm just man, I'm feeling your vibe tonight, man. I'm feeling it. You're all over it. I'm going to throw something out there that's kind of wild. And I don't, you guys are not readers. I am. The Darth Vader book coming out this November. Adam Christopher, Master of Evil.
Ooh, okay.
That is sounding really, really good.
Is there any like jacket lead-in that you have that you can kind of give us an idea? Any plot?
Well, first of all, the cover looks so good. But go ahead, Alfie.
So sick. The jacket basically is saying it's Vader's continuous quest to find immortality that the Emperor promised him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's happening after Revenge of the Sith. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's early on, right? It's not.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you, and this is kind of where the genesis of my question is, since you brought up Darth Vader. And this is where the conversation in the text message had nuance, and this is kind of where I want to bring it up. When did Anakin switch over to Vader? When did Vader become, like, when in your mind, in your headcanon, did that occur?
Yeah, so that was the discussion we were having in the text chain.
That wasn't the discussion. That was like, it brought up a question that I want to get to, but that's why I'm leading off with that question. That was the question that was brought up. So we mention them all the time. We listen to them. Why not give a shout out? It's not like it's dumb to not shout out. But Rebel Force Radio was talking about this, and it kind of made me think a couple steps further from their discussion. But I'm going to ask Alfie, because Alfie, Revenge of the Sith is, like you said, it is your favorite, right? It may not be the actual best movie as far as movies,
right?
But it is Alfie's #1 Star Wars movie. So, and this is also essentially the turn of Anakin, essentially, right? Like, so in your mind, when did Vader become Vader and not Anakin? when did Anakin? You know what I mean? So when did that happen?
Yeah, so like he's Anakin, and then he's Vader light, and then the mask gets put on him, and he's Darth Vader.
Okay, so you're saying like when he's yelling no.
Oh yeah, that's when he becomes Darth Vader.
So sitting in that boot, sitting in that, and then so I guess when does he turn back?
When does he turn back
Yeah,
to
When he
Anakin?
saves when he saves Luke.
Yeah.
So
I would agree. I don't think he's fully gone, even though he's crazy nuts. I don't think he's
No,
fully gone
he's
until
not.
he's in that suit and he hears that Padme is gone.
One of my favorite Darth Vader scenes is the end of The Empire Strikes Back, when they're watching the Falcon exit to hyperspace, and the camera pans to what is it, Paleon? No,
Mm-mm.
no,
Paleon's from like
yeah,
he's with Thrawn.
Piet,
Yeah,
Piet.
Admiral Piet.
And he kind of braces up a little bit because he knows the Force choke is coming.
Right.
But then Vader turns, and then he looks back at the empty space. Anakin's back. It may be just like 5%, but the door is open right there. And he's just, it's like Darth Vader is such a great character because you can't see his face, but yet
Right. That's what makes
there
it
is
harder.
so
too,
much emotion that you can pick up on his body language. And it's like you may not realize it as a kid, but as an adult, you can see he knows his redemption is right there. It just escapes his grasp.
You think
And
that
that's
he's
the beginning of his transformation back to Anakin.
So you think that he was willing to turn back into Anakin?
No,
I know this is why this is kind of like. Go ahead, continue. Sorry.
I think he knows that his son is like his path back away from the darkness,
Correct.
from the pain that, Legends Vader was constantly in pain because his power came from his pain.
Right.
So his suit was made to constantly
Be uncomfortable.
inflict pain upon his body,
Mhm.
which just made him stronger. And that was like his first chance at seeing, this is my path away from the pain as my son. Now, at the time, he wanted to twist it, just like he did with Padme, into, hey, we could do this together and rule from the dark side. Takes a whole nother 2.5 hour movie for him to see that, no, I can actually redeem myself fully.
So
he even says to Luke, I mean, if you go back and rewatch Jedi, he says to Luke, it's too late for me. Obi-Wan once thought like you did, but it's too late for me. I'm too far gone. He's already got that in his mind that I can switch this off and go back to being Anakin Skywalker.
You think that? But see, to me, I feel like he's reading that's what Luke's hope was, and that he can't turn it off. In his mind, he doesn't know how or can't turn it off.
Right, but Luke is the one who guides him to that path. But as far as when he becomes Darth Vader is when, to me, it's when the helmet goes on. Because once that seals up, Anakin Skywalker is gone.
Okay.
So
that was. Go ahead,
Brent, I'm
go
going to
ahead.
give a quick shout out. Luke Sheehan has said very excited for celebration announcements this weekend. And then also Adam Christopher did a fantastic job with Shadow of the Sith. Did you read that book, Alfie? It's a very good book.
I did not.
And I'm excited for this
Vader
book.
Ochi?
I believe so. Yes. That's the one where it wasn't Shadow of the Sith with Luke and Lando and Ochi.
Ochi, yeah.
Yeah.
I had not read that one yet.
Yeah. Says there's some points in that he thinks it'll be touch on some of the Charles Soule comic arc, which I admit I've not paid attention to the comic arcs, but I've heard the Darth Vader comic arc is really, really well done. So
really well done.
Alfie, I would agree with you on all those points, and you see the turn, and when you see him turn on Luke's lightsaber behind him, and Luke jumps a little bit, you could tell there was no, Vader was not going to cut him down right there. he was more like, wow, I'm impressed, right? Like this is he's got the skills, right? He's got skills to pay the bills.
Well,
Man,
no,
that
he
was
wasn't going to
old
cut him
school.
down because he was ordered to take him to his master.
Yeah, but I mean, like Alfie said, when he turns and he has that pulling on his heartstrings, seeing that Luke's getting away and reaching out father son after he cuts off his hand, there's some things turning inside that mask that you can't see. And when he finally gets to that Jedi scene, he was already leaning back in that direction, and then seeing the Emperor do those things to Luke, it pushed him over the top. So I would agree. It's when the mask goes on and he hears Padme's gone, and then Luke definitely redeems him. And I'll go to the cheesy thing that people say, that Ahsoka was able to cut the mask and you could see one eye, and then Obi-Wan was able to cut the mask, you could see the other eye, but the only person who could take the mask off of him was his son. And so that was his
Okay.
redemption right there.
Okay. So here's the thing that like they were talking about. This is where the question came from, Alfie, and this is why I say there's a little bit more nuance. And this is going from RFF conversation because I haven't done the research. But at this point, I don't believe Lucas has ever come out and said when Vader became Vader and when Anakin became lost Anakin, right? So we as
I
fans,
literally just watched this interview 2 days ago.
did he
And he
say it?
explains that, yes,
Oh.
he explains the entire trilogy beginning to end, and that it's all about Anakin Skywalker.
So tell me what that. Tell me.
He just says that's the prequels are Anakin falling to the dark side. He becomes Darth Vader.
Right.
Then he becomes the Return of the Jedi is not Luke Skywalker. Return of the Jedi is Anakin Skywalker.
Okay. And I get that. What I'm saying is, does he say exactly when that turn happens?
No, he doesn't say the exact moment, because that's not I don't think that's necessarily important. I think it's important that he's not Darth Vader when the Emperor names him Darth Vader. He's not Darth Vader when he goes and fights Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's not Darth Vader when
He's not Darth Vader during the battle. Like you're talking in the Obi-Wan show. Or you're
No,
talking.
I'm saying
No, you're talking.
Revenge of the
Sith.
You're talking the high ground. You're talking when he loses his legs.
Even though
Right.
Mr. Nip says that he was when Palpatine named
I mean,
him.
technically he is, because he calls him Darth Vader. He
Yes.
canonizes him with that title.
So here's what I'm coming at. Like, so we as fans are allowed to have some interpretation of that.
Okay.
And this is where my question that came from there, right? So this is like, so we are allowed to have some interpretation, so that gives us some ownership and some agency over the story. That gives us a little bit of our point of view. It gives us a little bit more credence. It gives us ownership of the story, because we all know that it's a turn. I agree, and I know that the whole series was like, the whole thing was Anakin. Like, it was all Anakin's story. But we have ownership and agency over that story in some ways, because we see it a little bit differently, and there's no one to say that that's right or that's wrong. Filoni's even said it a couple times too, when he says that like not every story in the Star Wars universe has to be told, and that's kind of where I'm getting at, is like we get a little bit of agency on our part as fans to own the story. And what I was then taking that the next step forward is, do you think that's why a lot of fans get so wrapped up in it, is because they have that ownership and agency in the story?
Joe, what episode of podcast are we on?
319.
We've done 319 freaking shows talking about Star Wars. Yes. I mean, I agree with you. We're wrapped up in it.
Yeah. I would agree, Brent. I think that it's just like in the text chain when I followed up with that, right? Yeah. I feel like I have ownership in this. I mean, I feel like I have ownership in the Cubs, the Steelers, Star Wars, those things that are so involved in my life and that I'm passionate about. I have, I feel the pain when there's pain. I feel the joy when there's joy. And the things that are my favorites are my favorites. And they will always be, Ryan Sandberg will always be my favorite Cubs player because it was a certain special time in my life when he filled that void and was like, this is the guy. Well, Star Wars is like that as well. And whether it's canon or not canon, whether it's legends or not legends, there are certain characters, there are certain stories that will always be my head canon, my story, and that I think is a good thing about Star Wars. Alfie said it 100 times. If you love the Acolyte, God bless you, amen. Go. I'm glad that made you happy. It just wasn't for a lot of for many of us on this show, but I'm not angry at you for it. Go, because I don't want you telling me that Cara Dune, Mara Jade, Jackson, things like Shadows of the Empire, the original Thrawn trilogy aren't part of Star Wars, because to me, they're very important parts of Star Wars. So there's ownership definitely in there. And we have our own headcanon. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have ownership, but I don't know that has ever diminished like my love for Star Wars or the series. Things that I don't like, I can pretty honestly say that it's not the story that I dislike, it's the execution.
Yeah.
There's very little Star Wars story that I dislike. Yeah, there were some crappy EU novels, and I've read some Disney novels that I thought, yeah, this just isn't for me. But I like the story. I like the High Republic story. The idea of the story, I should say. I think you got some solid things there. I think the execution is just, it's not very good, in my opinion. Now, somebody else can read it and they love it. That's great. To me, it wasn't for me. That's fine. And any show that I've been critical of, outside of the Kenobi show, I think has really just been execution. I think the Kenobi show was unnecessary with what they ended up putting out. That is one that I can say I do not care for the story. So I take that back. I misspoke. There is one thing that I think that story just was not good. Very unnecessary, and it muddied a lot of things. Now, the first episode and the last episode were stellar. But in between, yeah.
Michael Nip. When that a-hole killed Chewie with a planet, I checked out.
Hey, it took a planet to kill Chewie.
It did. That was so. Gosh, I remember
I
people
take it.
losing.
I know you guys talking about it. Like, was it that was one of the books, right?
Yuzong
Yeah.
Bong.
Oh, the Yuzong Bong did it.
New Jedi Order. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that was the use. That
He got everybody. He got everybody on board and stayed behind.
Yep. Even
Tony's saying that.
drunk Han. Man, that was some. Those were the times, man. Wow, Chewie getting killed by a planet, Han being a drunk. It was good times. Good.
Like,
times.
that's not too far off of what I picture of Han, though. I feel like Han was. He's a
Jaina
scoundrel.
Solo being trained by Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
Boba Fett becoming the ruler of Mandalore.
Man, the days.
We mustn't have our own interpretation of the Journey of the Will.
Journal of the Wills. Nip's hitting it tonight with great comments. Yeah. Go ahead, Brent.
So anyway, like the question was more just like, is it because we have that ownership and agency that we become a little bit more persnickety about those stories? That we have that much more expectation because we own the story? It's just kind of where my mind went from those statements and from that conversation. That was all I was trying to get at, which is more nuanced than like the argument that we were having from and I just couldn't do it in a text message to kind of get where I wanted to go on the text message chain. So that's where I was coming from. It's just there's a part of me that resonated with me because I was like, you know what? And I bet you, like, I do feel like we all have ownership. And I think some of that ownership is why, I mean, Joe, you have ownership in the Steelers. And when I make a comment about Aaron Rodgers, you get up in arms about it, right? Like, I mean, but you have, like, you feel like you have ownership and agency in that fandom. It feels like, even though you don't have a lot, you feel like you do. So, I don't know. That's just
no. It's 100% true, and I think that is why we're on episode 319 of this show. We could talk about anything, and we chose to talk about these topics, and we've stayed committed to it for over 5 years. And the reason is because in our own little way, we feel like we have ownership, and not decision making, but ownership. And we basically, if you look at it, we've bought stock in it, right? We spent our money, our time, our effort. That's part of it.
It's like that post. I think you saw it of the other day. Someone had posted about what does the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. How does that make you feel?
I went and watched it again the other night. Wow.
And I love that episode. I do. I watch it at least once a week. I watch that ending like once a week. And the way it always makes you feel is exactly like the gift that I posted. My God, the things we could have done. and that's my ownership. Like I said, is just the thing that frustrates me so much is just the execution of things. I generally, for the most part, like the majority of the stuff that Disney has put out. But there were so many decisions that were made that just ended things. Momentum killers. And you did it for shock value. And then when it's over, there's nothing left you can do with it.
right.
That's why it takes 15 writers in 5 years and you're still trying to write a Ray script because you were left with nothing because you ended it for jokes and for shock value.
Talking about that episode, season 2, last episode, I wrote into the text chain, and there's so many people out there right now. And Alpha, you brought up good comments of people saying Star Wars is got a lot of racist fans or a lot of sexist fans or whatever. But in that one episode, yes, we all get to see the Luke that we thought of Legends showing up. Yes, Brent, you know that's coming. But 4 of the main characters leading that charge were Casca Reeves, Bo-Katan, Ming-Na Wen, and dang it, Cara Dune.
Yeah.
And they were strong characters. And I've not heard anybody say, oh my gosh, I couldn't watch that last episode because there were 4 ladies leading the charge and really kicking butt and taking names. No, never heard anybody say that. So I think it goes back to Alfie. It's not that people are against those kind of people leading stories. It's just the execution and doing it the right way. Those stories right there, fantastic. And you had great characters playing great roles, well written, good stories, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, it felt really good to go back and watch that again and just sit there and have that feel of all that tension in that room. Grogu, Mando, Grief, Moff Gideon, and then Luke show up. That was just fantastic. So.
Hey,
but they also don't talk about those ladies because of what you just said at the very end, right? He stole the thunder, basically. He stole their thunder. As well he should. Like I don't want people to get like twisted. I'm saying it, but like
I get what you're saying.
As well he should. Like that like again, I wish, and I sit here and say that I wish that it was somebody else, because I feel like that helped split fandom again. Mando brought everybody together, but that scene helped split fandom again. And I'll go to my grave saying it.
I agree with you.
Be anybody.
Just for the reason I said.
What was
because
the reason
it pissed people off. This is what we could have had, and
right.
You made him a joke of a character.
Oh, okay, that's what you were talking about him. I thought you were talking about other things being a joke.
Oh, there's lots of things that they did in this. They made every character in The Last Jedi a joke, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
but him specifically.
Michael Knipp coming strong again. The ups and downs of Star Wars can best be described as how we all felt watching Rory on Sunday. Yeah. I can.
Well done.
Here's the thing about the internet. You're always going to have a loud minority of people
Yes,
who are
absolutely.
nasty and vitriol about anything.
Yep.
I went on a Reddit forum one time
Yours is
about
the beta
fucking
fish.
goldfish. We were at the fair and these kids were throwing goldfish in the trash, winning goldfish and then throwing the bags away. So I collected them. I'm like, I don't want something to die, in a plastic bag. That's no way to go. I get on this forum and I'm like, hey, I found these, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to set up stuff. I haven't done this in years. Any tips? And oh my God, the amount of people, you have them in a bowl. Oh, you deserve to live in a bowl. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Would you rather I just left them in the trash? But that's the nature of people on the internet.
Yeah.
You're
sad.
always going to have that small group that is so nasty and loud about anything.
You're right.
And I understand it's hurtful to people. I get that 100%. But I think there is a big difference. I was reading comments today saying that if you were to say that this character or this actress or actor had a bad performance or bad delivery, et cetera, you're no different than the 1%, who called her names about or him about their ethnicity and all this stuff. It's like, that's not the same thing.
No, it's not.
There's a complete difference from that. And I have no problem saying that, hey, I think you're probably a pretty good actor or actress. This just wasn't for you, or whoever was directing you and said this was okay, it didn't work.
Right.
You tried, it didn't work. I'm sorry. I hope the best for you in the future.
That's right. Maybe you'll get another Disney gig. Hyperspace Heroes. The characters had been developed enough in the series that the viewer understood why they were so badass fighters. Yeah, I agree. It was good development. Not to take us down this rabbit hole that we're on here, go in a different direction a little bit. You guys have got me looking at these Legos here, ever since I made Captain Rex. But then in our text chain, you bring up the Kylo Ren ship, and it's what, $70 for 380 pieces.
Look at that box art.
That box art is gorgeous. And then and then at the same time, the word Star Wars, just the word, $60. Just the words Star Wars. Now, I get it. My wife does puzzles all the time, but she'll pay like $4 for a 500-piece puzzle or $10 or whatever for a 1,000-piece puzzle. And I get it. It's just putting it together, taking it apart, whatever. But the words Star Wars, they're selling for $60. I'm finding some lunacy going on here between the price for that chip and the price for some words. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off base on this.
Didn't you and your son say something that I think is pretty prophetic about collecting?
It's the value each person, like,
something's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it.
And that's why I wrote back and said Ollie's.
Right.
Because these Star Wars Legos that just say Star Wars are going to end up at Ollie's.
I mean, I don't know. I have absolutely, like, as I'm sitting here painting a tree, right? I sit here and I know the hypocrisy of the statements that I'm going to make, but I have absolutely no interest in 3.5-inch figures or any of that other stuff, man. Like, it just, I'm not willing to spend my money on it. Just like you guys are like, why the hell are you spending your money on painting?
No, you're painting.
I question nothing that anyone buys. Nothing. You guys have been with me enough places. I mean,
I don't know. Let's talk about your daughter's eye.
I don't mean to brag, but I'm just like, put it in the bag. So
let's go. We're going. Just get it. Yeah.
Yeah, you want it? Okay, yeah. Just put it in the bag. We got it. Let's go.
My daughter's eye.
No, they're finding the stuff that she found at Great Ohio Toy Show.
Oh
Like, your
yeah,
daughter
I mean,
has like your daughter
she
who's
is
what
a
6, 5, 6,
6.
6, and has a
Yes.
collector. Like just walks up and is just like, I really like that one. Turns out it's like some sort of limited edition. You can only find
Yeah.
it in like one Happy
Yeah.
Meal from one certain year.
Yeah. I post, I always bring up Reddit, but there are good sites to Reddit, and Star Wars collecting is one forum that I really like. And yes, I posted the pictures of what she found in the dollar bins and got quite a few responses back saying, where did she find this? Where? Do you know what figure that is? Like, I don't know.
Right. It was a dollar figure. Like, what do you mean?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a hustler too. I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but I mean, she was batting those blue eyes, and oh, honey, you just just give me $5 for you. You know what? You get 5 more of those. Just go ahead and get 5 more of those out of that bin.
You've got to
Little
have,
hustler.
So you got so basically, so what you're telling me is like you found your kryptonite for people that you are
Yes.
now going to bring her at any time you need to do any negotiation.
Well, when I looked at what she was picking out of these bins, I was like, I would pay $1 for that. So yeah, get it. I wouldn't say no to it.
Love it. Hyperspace Heroes brought up another topic that I definitely want us to hit on before Andor kicked off next week. We got Slapface and Deidre.
Oh yeah,
we're feeling the heat. The question is, are we feeling the heat between the sheets? Is what we're wondering here.
The question is whatever they're doing, are you brave enough to watch?
Dude, let's not kink shame here. Let's not kink shame.
I'm just saying, they may be doing some stuff that you have to turn around and leave.
Is it going to be? Is there going to be blue milk and cocoa pebbles mixed in with all this?
Oh,
man, I tell you.
The other part of that is like I know who is the dominant in that relationship, and it's not cereal.
You know what though? I mean, I'm not going to say anything because I'm just telling on myself.
I think he might be a hidden dominant though.
I think she might be a hidden submissive.
Yeah, I think she likes to be in charge in public and likes to be have someone in charge in private.
Oh my gosh, where did we get down? Thank you, Hyperspace Heroes.
All I want to know is why is she wearing the Hillary Clinton pantsuit? That was just. I was watching that scene and I was like, "Is this like AI or something, or is this real?" Because the way they're dressed, it just seems.
You know
really
that there's
off.
there's something about a woman in a power suit. Come on, come on, Alfie.
It just did not look like. But
and
then again, that's kind of Anders' MO, so it just didn't look like it fit in the Star Wars world.
And they came from your favorite place. They had to have come from a dinner party.
100%.
So we're gonna get a dinner party that leads up to the brown chicken brown cow. Brown chicken brown cow.
Corporate event.
This has been going on for a while because they were talking about them being spied on.
Yeah, they were being followed back to the room.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
My work is done here. Good night. Yes, Hyperspace. You had to put us down that path. Yeah, I'm. Look, there's.
Hold on. Sorry, Joe. I'm gonna cut you off.
Yes, sir.
Who didn't have that thought when they saw that image? If they've seen it.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, continue.
Look, this is adult Star Wars, and then we have like Skeleton Crew, which is kids Star Wars, right? I mean, it's okay. You can have all this. It can be a wide array.
I'm all for it.
You know what?
Go down this avenue. Explore it a little bit.
It might give us some very interesting cosplay outfits.
Wow, Joe. Wow. Like, first of all, you made Alfie speechless. I just want you to realize that.
Well, that goes back to, George Lucas said in For a New Hope, there are no bras in space.
Yep. No bras.
Okay. Okay.
If the next Star Wars event we go to, if we see a scantily clad Cyril and Deidre running through the event, then Gilroy has done his job.
I think that'll happen. I think he's done his job. I think there's a lot of love for this story, and a lot of love for different parts of these characters.
I do have to ask you guys. We haven't really talked about the logistics of this, but we're looking at
How are we going to
two,
watch 3 hours in
yeah,
a
two and a
day?
half to 3 hours. Where that's why I said we might have to watch those on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then have the show on Thursday. I mean, I think that's logistically what makes the most sense to give us time to.
Yeah, especially
take
if
it
it's
all
as
in.
boring as season 1. That'll be a rough. Like, gosh, that'd be worse than like sitting through like Kingdom of Heaven or something. That movie.
I mean, you got some dancing going on. Like
Yeah.
you get wrapped up in the dancing.
Yeah, little wedding reception. It's a
Oh,
fantastic trip.
Brent, I want to live there. That looks so nice.
It's part of the Wakanda thing. So I'm painting this for the store. This is a size 2, so it's smaller and can be picked up by more people.
Michael Nip picking up what I'm putting down right here. Can't wait to see the running of the lingerie at the next celebration.
You people. You people.
We're all thinking it, Brent. We're all thinking it.
So here's the thing. I got like this beater X-Wing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to try to paint this like a U-Wing engine stacked on top of each other and put it into like a crashed.
Dude, I was so excited for your purchases at Great Ohio Toy Show.
Oh, my Zamweisel and my Outrider.
Yeah, those are great. And even though I almost broke the Zam ship, I mean, it's still
It's fine. It's gonna be submerged. The point of it is gonna have it like it's gonna be in water. So I've bought like realistic water, and so Zam is gonna be because I'm making the planet Rhodia.
Okay.
And Rhodia is swampy. And so the goal is to have the Outrider because it's Rhodia. It's got homeboy McClunky's home world. So
Greedo?
there's bounty hunters
Greedo.
and stuff there.
Yeah.
And so you see one in the Clone Wars where it looks all nice and stuff. Like Alfie, we were talking about it, but you can watch one Clone Wars episode and they fly into one domed building set. But like all on the outside of it is like swampland. So Zamweisel's ship is going to be submerged and like crashed. The Outrider is going to be over on another side of the board, and then there's going to be like trees and swamps and stuff.
I love it.
Eventually.
I love it. We all have our things, Brent. You are on it. Alfie, what was the name of the Rhodian uncle for Padme? Wasn't it Padme who kept calling him Uncle something in the Clone Wars? It was an episode where she got trapped with him. I can't remember.
And he sold her out, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did.
That was the episode I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name.
And he eventually turned back to her side.
Yes.
And, but yeah. That was the episode that I was talking about that I used as my like background studying on.
Was that the Bombad Jedi episode?
Yep. It was the arc with homeboy being they thought that
C-3PO had Jar Jar put on the Jedi robe.
Yep.
Wow.
That just happened to be on Padme's ship.
Yep.
Yeah. It makes me think of the text you sent us. Basically, we're living together.
And no one's noticed.
And no one's noticed yet. Gotcha. Right. Okay. Okay. As usual, I have thrown all kinds of topics out there. Anything you guys want to hit before we close up stuff?
Okay, so Brent brought up his game. I'm going to bring up my game for a minute.
Yeah.
Bring it.
People are really pissed off about this, Brent.
Oh, what do you got?
So they've been advertising for months that the next era of the game was going to be Revenge of the Sith to tie in, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be Lord Vader centered. So Lord Vader is a galactic legend on the game, and I just unlocked him and got him fully maxed out, and it probably took 4 to 5 months. And he is one of the least unlocked galactic legends because
Yeah.
he has no team that goes with him.
Okay.
So no lifters or anything. Like legions, he's got nothing that goes with them specifically.
Yep.
It's kind of a waste
No
of time.
synergies. Right.
Right. So that caused people to start panic farming this character. And so just a few days ago, the specifics came out, and you don't get to be Lord Vader.
Hmm.
You fight against Lord Vader.
Oh wow.
Yeah. People are
And
not
Yeah,
not
'cause
happy.
because they spent their money, they spent their time
Yes.
trying to build up Vader because they thought, oh God, I'm going to get somebody that's going to play with him, and now they're
Now,
not.
he is getting a team through this, but it's slowly trickling out. The first one was Apo, who was the commander of the 501st, I think. And then today it was announced CX2 from the Bad Batch will be on his team.
Who's CX2?
The evil clone that hunted down Omega.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, who is this guy? What clone is he? What character? Is he Tech Reborn? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Nope. Just some guy.
Right. So, but it's going okay so far. But it is a bummer because I was one of the one that got sucked into the uh, unlocking Lord Vader in hopes that you'd be able to use during this time.
Right.
But you live, you learn, right?
Right. I mean, at least you didn't have Palpatine get completely erased from your game. That would be like basically what they just announced would be like take Thrawn or somebody that's been
Mm-hmm.
a Galactic Legends for a long time. And you know what? We're just gonna sunset Thrawn. You spent your
Right.
time building him up. You've played with him. We're just gonna go ahead and just shove him off to the side and make him not
Yeah.
playable.
I'd be upset about that.
Hey Brent,
Yeah.
you know what they're setting us up for, right?
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Uh-huh.
So there is a thought, like, right, because like I think like there's two things. One, they're getting ready to announce Grand Admiral Thrawn to be playable in the game.
Hmm.
Moth Tarkin, and I think like I don't think it's Paleon, but it's another one from like that era. I might be Paleon too, but so they're going to be playable characters with unit cards and stuff like that. And some of the mechanics that uh, Palpatine does, they're gonna just kind of reintroduce into those characters. So they're saying that they're doing it because they're gonna reintroduce, and it'd be a redundancy in the keywords. Um, and so that's why they're saying it. I still think that Lucasfilms kind of wants to get rid of them. I think they kind of want to move past it. So they didn't
They
get
need to have the
approval.
next big baddie.
So I think Lucasfilm did have some to say in. I think the designers didn't want him also, and they're going to kind of hide behind Lucasfilm as well. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on with it.
Okay. Alfie, how about you? Any last thoughts, comments?
I know it's probably
Go.
hard to
ahead.
believe, but I am super pumped to see Revenge of the Sith in the
There we
theater
go.
again.
Did you get tickets already? Because you mentioned it like,
No.
and then like you showed the Hayden thing, and you said that there's like only the front row. So do we
Yes.
need to get on? Because I looked to see, and I saw that it was like posted on AMC. But do we need to start getting on and getting our tickets?
I
Because
checked
it's next week.
AMC, Regal, and Cinemark, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every showing is at least 75% sold out. All 3 days. Every showing. Yes, the only thing left is like the front rows.
So Joe, I think we need to get on the horn with these guys, and set up some times. Maybe somebody buy it and then Venmo it back, or let me know. But because that when I heard you say that, while I'm not shocked, because also when I heard you say that, it made me think of Scott Riffin's statement. I don't know why they underestimate Star Wars, but they continue to underestimate Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Especially this one. I mean, I don't know if you were. I can never remember how old you are, Brent.
I'm old enough.
So were you? How old were you when this movie came out?
College. Yeah, college.
So yes, you remember how big it was. It was freaking everywhere.
Yeah.
This is the movie where, in episodes 1 and 2, I vividly remember seeing mainstream media interviews with George Lucas, them saying to his face, "These movies sucked.
Hmm.
Are you going to make another one?" Whereas when this one came out, the questioning had changed to, "Please don't stop making them. You got
Right.
it right with this one. Please make another one."
Right. And Joe, didn't you go to like Midnight Madness and stuff like that and get caught on
Oh yeah.
local
Oh
news
yeah.
for the toy releases?
Oh yeah. Yeah. At that time, Joey was little. I was out at the Midnight Madness stuff, getting them, and yeah, I did not get interviewed. I did not want to get interviewed. So, but they definitely got me in the aisle on the film. People were calling me the next morning saying, "Were you just at a Star Wars toy thing?" Yes, I was.
Yes, I was.
Thank you
I
for watching the
saw
news.
this one at midnight at it's now Regal, the one by the mall, and
Hmm.
every single screen was showing it at midnight, and every single one was sold out.
I was in Arizona at the time. I feel like. So I honestly, to be honest with you though, like this is why it doesn't resonate with me. There was so much going on in my life at the time
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
not outside of, and like I never bought into. So no, actually, like '05, I was actually out in Phoenix. I might have actually been moving back to Indiana at the time. Um, Clone Wars was when I was doing summer school when Clone Wars came out.
Yep. Well, it's going to be a fun ride. Yeah, you know what? I'll start a chain up real quick. We'll all talk and plan some time to go see it because it's coming up quick. And yeah, we got Easter weekend coming up, and then boom, there it is. So, guys, I can't thank you enough. We went another hour and a half without even thinking about it, just talking away. But it's been fun. It was good to recap with everybody. D-Doc, I hope he's having fun with his son heading to DC again. Hopefully tomorrow, sometime on the news, we'll see a bunch of Boy Scouts waving to the camera as those all the press is out there. But it's always a great time to come on here and just thinking about the Cyril Deidre scenes now. It's just making me look forward to Andor even more. So
Yeah, got to go home and go and see Lori here for a few minutes.
wow. I might take some Cocoa Puffs and some blue milk.
Oh man,
Yeah.
make sure they're blue Cocoa Puffs though.
There you go. There you go. Guys, thanks a bunch for everybody who's been with us for the ride. Thank you, Michael Knipp, Hyperspace Heroes, Adam Parker, Dr. Squatch. Let me see here real quick. I know there were others. Luke Sheehan. Thank you guys all for joining in and chipping in on the comments there. It always makes it more fun when you guys do that. We will get Abdul on soon. We'll have Dr. Squatch with us next week. We're going to figure out the logistics on the Andor season and go from there. But thanks again. And until next week, may the force be with you.